video for you. I think it's number 23 or 24, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm really excited about this what I've watched video, so probably should just crack right into it. So the first one I have is a 2013 movie. This is the end. I am probably like one of the last people to see this movie, but I finally picked it up and I finally watched it. I will say, I watched it on my own, and I kind of wish I would have watched it with a group of people, because I think it kind of would have been funnier, because you could have laughed in a group, but it was still good. I enjoyed it. It was funny, it was weird and crazy, and I was like, what is this? And then by the end you were just like, yeah, okay, anything goes now. So basically, obviously it's got loads of actors in it, you probably can see them all there, and they kind of play themselves, like they're in the film, they're by their own names, by their real names, and like, you know, they know their actors and stuff, like they are playing, I don't know exactly how, they're probably playing a different emphasized version of themselves, like kind of thing. It's not like that, but like, I don't know, do you know what I mean? They're playing their own characters. And I loved Jonah Hill in this one. He was so sweet. Like, I just loved him at the beginning of this film, and I was like, oh, I like Jonah Hill a lot. Yeah, I really like Seth Rogen in this as well, and James Franco. They were some of my favourites. Plus, Emma Watson is in this movie, and the bit of her in was so great. I loved that. It was weird. It's basically like a film about the end of the world and these friends, and it just gets crazy. It's like a weird comedy. You've really got to go into this just expecting anything, because that's what you're gonna get, and it's just crazy. But I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, I didn't, the ending though, I was like, it was good. The ending was really good and impressive, but yeah, so this is the end, you know. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, you guys like my Christmas decorations. Okay, moving back to what I've watched for you. Next I have The Book Thief, which is another 2013 movie. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I loved it. It was a really great movie. I've done a review on it, and I've talked about it on Tuesday night movie night, so I don't want to take up too much time on it, but it is of course based on the book by Marcus Zusak, and it is based around the time of the Holocaust, and about this little girl named Liesel who steals books, pretty much, but she, at the beginning of the film, she doesn't know how to read, and her new father, she's sent to live with a new family, starts to teach her how to read and stuff. It's really interesting, really beautiful story, and you should definitely watch this one. This is one I highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, just definitely watch this. I really recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Okay, the next one I have, the Fauna Stars. I mean, I give this movie 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is the theatrical version that I watched first at this point on my list. I really enjoyed the theatrical version, but I have said it in my review, I do prefer the extended version. But yeah, so the Fauna Stars, I mean, I've talked about it 99 million times, so yeah, there's that one. The next one is Bridesmaids. I watched this for my overrated video type thing, where I talked about if I thought Bridesmaids was overrated. I did enjoy it. Did I give it 3.5? Or did I give it 3.5? Yeah. So, I mean, this movie came out in 2011, so it's a little while ago now, and at the time I feel like it was really overhyped. But I don't know, I do enjoy it. It's funny, but I think I would have given it a higher rating back in the day. Watching it again, I kind of maybe knocked a half star off it, but Melissa McCarthy makes this movie. She's so funny in it, so funny, and I really like Rebel Wilson as well. She's in this, and they're hilarious. But again, I only just recently talked about that one quite in depth, so yes. Next one is Rocky Balboa, and there's a quote from this movie called oh my god, life isn't all sunshine and rainbows, it's a very mean, nasty place, and it goes on and on. And I loved that quote for a long time. I've really enjoyed that quote. And it's from this movie, and I never had seen the movie. I'd just seen the bit of the quote, and I'd known the quote and stuff, so I hadn't seen the film. So I was like, I need to watch the film. I'd had it for a long time. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. Basically, Rocky, you know, it's, I don't know how many years after it is after the previous ones, but you know, he's older now, he doesn't fight anymore, he's just at his restaurant, he's got a son who doesn't really want much to do with him, and then he has this like one final other fight, and it's like, it's pretty intense actually. I really enjoyed it. What did I give it? I gave it three stars. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Sorry, I've got my little star list here because I kind of forget, because I give them the stars kind of right after, but I really did enjoy it actually. Yeah, especially the ending, it was pretty intense at the end there. Next one I've got is White House Down with Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. I actually really enjoyed this one. Lots of people don't like it. I personally really enjoyed it. I thought Joey King also did a really good job. She was a little girl in this movie. Basically, Channing Tatum is the father of this little girl and she's played by Joey King. And Joey King's really interested in the White House and the presidents and politics and all stuff like that. And he gets a job interview at the White House. He gets a job interview to be in the Secret Service look after thing, I don't know exactly, and he asks if he can take his kid with him because she's really into that kind of stuff, and they say yes. They go, and then they, he has a job interview and stuff. Then they try and go on this tour of the White House, and then the White House kind of like gets taken down and bombed and all crazy stuff's going on, and Jamie Foxx here plays the president, and they're trying to protect him, and it was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. I really did. I gave it 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. For what it was, it started off a little bit slow. I was like, oh my goodness. Plus, I hear a lot of people really like Olympus Has Fallen better. I need to watch that one really soon. But personally, I recommend this one. I really had a good time with it. Next one I have Maleficent. I've talked about this one a lot. I watched this one in my last What I've Watched video. I talked about it as well. I gave this movie 4.5. You guys know I love it. I love this perspective on Maleficent. I think I actually even enjoyed it more the second time. I'll watch it again. I watched it in 2D the second time. It still looks beautiful, but I think it looks more beautiful in 3D because obviously the flying stuff and all that. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I've talked about it. I really like it. I just like it. I don't know, a lot of people don't, but I really do. Okay, let me move my page over. Look, see, here's my little star list. Yeah, turning the page so I can see what's going on. Okay, next I watched The Fauna Stars. Yes, I watched this again. I watched the extended version. Just talked about it, so I won't really talk about it again. But the extended version is awesome. Definitely watch the extended version on this one. Okay, so next one I watched is Hick. I really enjoyed this, but it was a really weird, dark kind of movie. Chloe Grace Moretz did a fantastic job in this. I really liked the way that it was told, really liked the display of it. Basically, she is from this kind of family that doesn't really care for much. They just don't, and she runs away. She wants to go to Vegas, or LA, where she wants to go. She wants to go to Vegas, Las Vegas. So she runs away, and basically she tries to hitchhike, and she meets this guy. He's there on the back, and she gets in with him, and he's a bit creepy. It's a bit weird. And then she kind of gets out the car from him because she's like, oh, whatever, screw you, and meets up with Blake Lively, who I love, and she was a great character in this, and Blake Lively's really great to her. She looks after her. Well, they get into some trouble, but and then this guy turns up again, who she met before, and it's kind of all about that. It's kind of like a road trip, but it's very I definitely recommend this one. I really did enjoy it, but it was a weird kind of, I can't really know how to explain it. I did enjoy this one. I give it 3 stars, and it was darker than I thought it was going to be, but it's really, really interesting. Chloe Grace Moretz was really fantastic in it. The next one I watched was an old kind of classic, and it is Ghost, but it's not that old. It's from 1990, which is actually pretty old now. That's older than me though, so yeah, we've got Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, and Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg in this, loved her in this, she was so funny. So basically, it's kind of a romantic story, but not really. We've got these two, they're in love, blah blah blah. Patrick Swayze gets shot, and then he becomes a ghost, and he can see her and all this stuff going on, but they can't see him. And basically, he meets up with Whoopi Goldberg, who is, she thinks that she is a spirit, what would you call it? A spirit messenger? I don't exactly know what it's called, I'm really sorry. But she's faking it pretty much. But then she meets Patrick Swayze, and she realises she can actually hear him, and it creeps her out, and it's hilarious. She was hilarious in this. And then basically, something more to it than him just getting shot on accident. And they have to discover all that and stuff. It was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. I'd probably watch it again. I give it 3 stars. I don't think it was super fantastic, but I thought it was good. Everybody's probably seen this movie, bar me, but yeah. So that's Ghost. So the next one I have here is Sense and Sensibility. I actually really, really enjoyed this one, and I actually thought it was more recent than it is. It came out in 1995, and I was like, ooh, no. But this one's got a great cast. I mean, Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet, Alan Rickman, Hugh Grant. I was like, yes. I'm excited about this one. Of course, it's based on the Jane Austen novel. and I really enjoyed it. Basically, it's kind of a confusing story to explain, I guess. These two are sisters, and they have a little sister as well, and they live in this big mansion-y type house, but then they have to move out because their father also has a son, I believe. Is that correct? Well, there's somebody, I think that's right. Yeah, so his father has a son, and I think the son obviously is their half brother. I don't really know what the beginning was going on here, but so the father has to leave it to the son, so they have to move out. The son has a wife, and the wife's brother is Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant turns up because they're still living in the house for a bit until they can find somewhere to move out. Hugh Grant turns up, and Emma Thompson really falls for Hugh Grant, and he is so good in this. I love Hugh Grant, so I loved him in this. And then they have to move away, and Hugh Grant, she doesn't see him, and for a while, and it's kind of sad. And then she meets this man, and they fall in love. It's kind of like that. It's like love and the country, but it was good. It's so much more than that. But my explanation is it's hard to explain. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I really recommend this one. I enjoyed, as far as the film adaptations, I enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed the Pride and Prejudice film adaptation. Okay, so the next one I watched was A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe. This was a really interesting one. I had seen the beginning of it before, but not the end, and that's kind of important. If you watch this movie, definitely need to see the end. It's got a lot of twists and turns in it. Russell Crowe basically is at Princeton. Is that right, Princeton? Or somewhere like that. Anyway, it doesn't say that. He's John Nash. He's at Princeton. He's a mathematician, pretty much. He's very smart, very clever, and that's kind of, I don't know what to say. I can't really say much, to be honest. It'll ruin it for you if I tell you much. It's a very interesting movie, and he kind of has to start working in this secret service type situation, and he meets this woman who is played by, what's her name? Jennifer Connelly. Not Rachel Lynn, but Jennifer Connelly. And I can't explain this movie to you at all. There's not really a good way to explain it without one, ruining it, or two, it's a bit complicated. But the problem is, I wish I would have watched this back in time. It came out in 2001, and I kind of feel like now other movies have done what this movie does, and I've seen a similar thing before, but I still really enjoyed it, and I really was surprised, and it was really interesting. I loved the character of John Nash. I really liked the ending. I really liked where it went. I really liked how it really filled out the whole story. You weren't left like wondering anything. It rounded itself off very well, which I really liked. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I mean, come on, everyone's heard of this movie, I think, anyway, so you've probably all seen it, but I really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it. It's a pretty long one, I think. 130 minutes, so it's like 2 hours and a bit. But it's definitely worth watching. I really enjoyed it. So that's that one. The next one that I watched is Mad Money, which I really enjoyed. I really loved this. I haven't really heard anybody really speak about this one. We've got Diane Keaton, Queen Latifah, and Katie Holmes. I don't usually like Katie Holmes, but in this I liked her. Basically, first it begins to focus around Diane Keaton's character, and she lives with her husband, and they have this big house, they have quite a lot of money, but her husband has been having problems with his job. He hasn't really been letting on to her, so they're in a lot of debt, and they need to sell the house, and she's like, oh my god, no, we can't do that. So she has to try and get a job, and she ends up getting a job as a cleaner at this big bank. Or is it a bank, or is it it's a bank. It's a really secure, big bank in America. She has a job at the bank. And then basically, her and these two plan like this robbery of the bank. And it is so interesting, but funny, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend that you check it out. I will be watching it again. I think I'll watch it many times. I thought it was great. Definitely check this one out. I really enjoyed it. The next one I've got here is A Long Way Down, which I talked about quite a lot. I watched it on Tuesday night movie night, and I really enjoyed it. So it's about these 4 people who are planning to commit suicide at the top of this building on New Year's Eve, and then there's 4 of them there, so they're like, oh, they come up with this pact to not kill themselves till Valentine's Day. I don't know what I was going to say then. I was trying to think of what holiday it was. Valentine's Day. And you kind of get to know each character, and they're really interesting. At first, I think the first 20 minutes, I think it shows them in a light that is quite a negative light, and you kind of are a bit judgmental towards them. But then as you get to know them, it kind of teaches the moral of that you can't just judge a person from meeting them, because you don't know the whole backstory, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know what's going on in their life. And like maybe like here on YouTube, you can't just watch a YouTuber and be like, oh, they're this or that, because you only see certain factors of their life, like, or anybody you meet in life, and it kind of shows that. And I thought that was really, really interesting. But it's kind of funny, it's kind of uplifting, it's a little bit sad, and these 4 characters are really, really great, and I enjoyed all of them. It's kind of like a character study, which I loved. I definitely recommend it. It's a British movie based on a book by Nick Hornby. I love it. I've done a review for it too, so yes. Next I watched The Fauna Stars. I'm not even kidding. I watched this again. I talked about it too much now, so I just let you know I watched it again. Next one I watched was How to Train Your Dragon 2. Oh my, I love this movie. I just did a review on it, so so good, so good. I like this one even better than the first one, and I love the first one. Yeah, so basically Hiccup is older now, and he is trying to kind of find himself in this one. Toothless is adorable as ever. His father wants him to become the chief. They've realised they can do so much with the dragons now and see so much of the world. It looks beautiful. The 3D was fantastic. DreamWorks are really, really doing well at the moment. I'm not going to say much about it because I just did a review. I'll link it down below, but I absolutely loved this. The soundtrack was great. Everything was just beautiful. I loved it. There's so much to the story that I wasn't expecting. Lots of surprises, lots of twists and turns. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but you must watch this one. Really, really enjoyed it. And then the next one I watched was Albatross with Jessica Brown Findlay and Felicity Jones. I really, really like Felicity Jones. This one kind of was really interesting, but it was kind of different than I thought it was going to be. It's about this girl who kind of hasn't had the best childhood or bringing up. Her mother killed herself and her father has left, and she lives with her grandparents, and her great-great-great-grandfather or something is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of Sherlock Holmes, and she kind of takes that into herself and believes that she wants to be a writer, and but she goes to work at the, oh my god, what's it called? There's the hotel where Felicity Jones lives that her parents run. She goes to work there. And Felicity Jones' father is an author of this book based around this hotel where they live, and it was interesting. It was interesting. I thought that it just didn't do as much as I wanted it to, but I did enjoy it. But I'm left like pondering about it. The father was annoying. The mother was a bit annoying too. Felicity Jones, I liked her character. She was kind of smart and shy, and these two became friends. She's completely like outrageous and rebellious, and they become like friends from complete opposites. But I think their friendship wasn't explored enough. And then I don't know. I don't want to ruin it for you. Something kind of goes on with the father, and it was good. I enjoyed it, but it was just kind of a little bit not. I don't know how to explain it. The bits I liked the best weren't gone into as much. I don't know. Does that make sense? I gave this one 2.5 stars, but I still did really enjoy it, and I would recommend watching it if you think you would enjoy it, or just watch the trailer. I think would be the best idea there. But yeah, so there's that one. And then finally, I watched Django Unchained. Now, this is a Quentin Tarantino Western type movie with Jamie Foxx, Leonardo DiCaprio, Samuel L. Jackson. This guy, basically Django is a slave, and then this guy here comes in and buys him and he has him as like a free man after doing this. He's a bounty hunter after doing this one job for him, to identifying these 3 men who he needs to kill. And then they decide to work together throughout the winter, killing all these men, making this money and stuff like that. And then basically Django says, I want to get my wife back. So Django and this guy come up with this plan to go and get his wife back from Candy, who, you know, has this big place where he has loads of slaves. They want to go and buy her, and then she can be free with Django. And a lot more happens, and it's a really, really interesting story. The soundtrack was amazing. Everything looked beautiful. It was shot beautiful. It was really, really well done. I mean, you know, it's a Quentin Tarantino film. It was really well done, though. It looked really awesome. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I loved Django, and Jamie Foxx did a fantastic job. I really, really liked his character. Samuel L. Jackson's character, I just wanted to punch. If you've seen this movie, you know what I mean. And I thought Leonardo DiCaprio did a really great job as well. This film is really, really brutal. So if you don't really think you'll like that kind of thing, I would maybe not watch it. It's an 18. Yeah, but apart from that, I didn't mind that. I was fine. But I just thought I'd mention it. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was a really great movie, and I think I'd watch it again as well. So yeah, those are the ones I watched now this time. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. So thank you so much for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed these what I've watched videos. Comment down below if you've seen any of these. Subscribe if you hadn't already, or if you are a newbie, keep smiling peeps. I'll see you then. Goodbye.